right, good evening. We're going to go ahead and reconvene to open session. It's approximately 6 p.m. F, announcement of actions taken in closed session. Mr. Jimenez.
Thank you, President Alvarado. In closed session, by a vote of 5-0 with the motion made by Mr. Carlos Contreras and seconded by Mr. Lorenzo Calderon, the board took action to approve the appointment of Ms. Fisher to the position of principal for Jefferson Elementary School. Ms. Fisher, I know you're here with your beautiful family, with Mr. Fisher and your two sons, but would you like to make share a few words?
Thank you. Good evening. Good evening, Board of Trustees. Thank you, Mr. Jimenez. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm really looking forward to being part of the Jefferson family. To my family, thank you for supporting me. My parents aren't here, pero nos están viendo por YouTube. So, a mis papás les quiero dar las gracias por su apoyo. And I'm really looking forward to being part of the Jefferson family with students, faculty, and parents.
Thank you, Ms. Fisher.
Thank you. Congratulations.
So also in closed session by a vote of 5-0 with the motion made by Lorenzo Calderon and seconded by Enrique Alvarado, the board took action to appoint Mr. Jorge Arturo Hernandez as our new safety coordinator. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you for that, Mr. Jimenez. G, presentations. 1, Kennedy Garden Elementary School presentation.
Thank you so much, Mr. Calderon. Well, I can see we're going to have a good time tonight already. So it is my privilege to present to you our principal and her school community here with her tonight to share some what the work that's taking place at Kennedy Gardens. So our principal of Kennedy Gardens, Ms. Elga Fuentes.
Mr. Jimenez, thank you everyone, all our staff at Kennedy Gardens and our dear parents that are here. Thank you very much. So this is I'm very proud here to be representing our school, Kennedy Gardens Elementary. We're going to begin with looking at data because we all want to look at numbers, right? So let's begin with that. I'm sharing with you a little bit. Next slide, please. Thank you. Let's start with iReady. We do use this intervention program. We're going to take a look at iReady data for the 2-year comparison. You'll see the different colors for the bar graphs, the beginning of the year and the end of the year results. You can see that there's about 10 to 9% difference when we start at the beginning of the year. We have maybe a lot of kids in the 3 or more grade levels below or 2 grade levels below. But as you can see, for the end of the year, our students have progressed quite a bit. We've been able to move the kids from 3 or more grade levels below or the 2. We're moving them on to 1 grade level below or early on or on grade level, even mid or above grade level. So you'll see the difference there in those bars. Our students are showing progress. We do use this program during the intervention hour for both ELA and math. So what you're seeing right here, right now is iReady reading. The next slide. This is the iReady reading results for this particular year, where we're starting right now. So we're hoping that we'll be able to demonstrate those same gains, more or less, by the time we take the iReady test again in the spring. So this is where we're starting off right now, 3% mid or above level, early or on grade level, 6%. 1 grade level or below at 32%, 2 grade levels or below 25%, and 3 or more grade levels or below for 34%. So our goal is to continue to make progress. This is the math. This is where we took the beginning of the year and end of the year, 22-23. Again, started off many kids over on the other side for 3, 2, or grade levels below, but we were able to, at the end of the year, show great progress. You'll see it's about 9 to 10% in decrease over in the three or more grade levels below, or the 2 grade levels below, we were able to move those kids over to the 1 grade level below. You'll see the bar is much higher, and you'll see that we have 3% who were able to score in the mid or above grade level, and 11% on early or on grade level. So again, lots of progress being demonstrated by our students. This is where we are at the beginning of the year now for math. You can see that we have 1% early or on grade level. Quite a bit of our kids are 1 grade level or below, and then 30% of our kids are at 2 grade levels or below, and 3 grade levels or below. So we still have quite a bit of work, but as you can see, we continue working. We're working on strategies. They're using this program during the intervention hour, and we're certain that we are going to be moving kids all the way down to 1 grade level or below, hopefully. For LPAC is another important assessment that we want to take a look at. Our goal is to be able to reclassify as many students as we can before they leave us. We want to make sure that by the time, and our kids feed on over to Willie Moreno, so we want to send most of our kids, that they're reclassified. So we're looking at those level 4s. So as you can see, our intermediate students, that's 4th through 6th, performed really well. We see good results. Kids are moving along, and that's our two-year comparison that you'll see there. And you're probably maybe familiar with some of this data already, as I think Ms. Ramirez has shared some of it before. This is also our CASP data, so big round of applause to our staff. I'm really proud of all the work that they have done. We focused a great deal on instructional strategies, especially AVID, as you can see our bulletin right here. AVID has great strategies. They target English language learners. They'll target our special needs students, all those scaffolds that, we want to make sure that we're implementing in our classrooms, particularly district initiative with a consultant, Orenda. We've done a lot of data chats, data reflections. It's a very structured way for us to review our data and talk about instruction. Tier 1 instruction is very, very important. And as you can see, we made those changes. Lots of positive growth there, particularly in the blue, right? You want to look at the blue, that's higher than 5%. So very, very, very proud of all the work that's been going on at Kennedy Gardens. So what are our planned activities? Now that we looked at our data, we want to make sure that we keep supporting the staff, keep supporting our students. We're going to continue with scheduled walkthroughs and making sure that we're focusing on that quality tier 1 instructions, that we're conducting our learning walks so that teachers are learning primarily, through each other. Research tells us that teachers learn best from their colleagues. So we're trying to give them those opportunities to be able to talk, to be able to share, and learn from each other so that we can focus on our students. Tutoring, we've partnered with AMPAC tutors that provide specialized instruction for our students during the day. We know that some of them don't necessarily come after school, but during the day, during that intervention hour, our tutors are pulling some of our kids and working with them in reading and writing, so that reading and math, so they're targeting those areas. In addition to that, planning time. Planning time is very important, especially in elementary school. As you know, they're planning for various subjects at a time. In secondary, I know as I was an English teacher for a long time, but I focused on one subject. Elementary teachers have to focus on several subjects, 6 to 7 subjects. So we want to make sure that we give them enough time to plan and really focus on those instructional strategies and focus on standards-based teaching. And in addition to that, teacher support, because we know that we have a district initiative. We want to continue to support that with the small groups, centers, and guided reading lessons. So we're making time to support our teachers and give them that extra support. Our academic support teacher is very important. It's a very crucial part of this process. So our goal is to achieve a 9% increase in CAS scores for the targeted ELL subgroup and grade levels through the implementation of AVID strategies, individualized tutoring, and teacher professional development. All right, and now we'll look at parent involvement. Big hand to our parents that are here. They're very involved. They come to our chats, they come to our parent institutes, and then now they're here. They're here at our board meetings. We're very proud of them. You'll see some of our pictures. We even have, during some of our events or our chit chats, we even have parents presenting to other parents. I have an example here, Mr. Ernesto, who gave a presentation to our parents. So, you know, we're looking at including our parents in that way as well, and it was great to see. So parent involvement, a little bit of the data that goes along with parent involvement. Go ahead, next slide. There you go. So this is panorama data. I particularly like this this service that we have that our district provides to us. We look at data. It helps us to plan different activities, what are the needs, and we also use this data in our SPSA. So those are the different areas: barriers to engagement, school climate, family efficacy, learning behaviors, and grit. The areas that we looked at that we need to work on a little bit more are learning behaviors and grit. We had a good increase in school climate. So I'll show you a little bit more in depth what that looks like. So school climate, there's different questions that parents are asked. For example, to what extent do you think that your children enjoy going to school? How fair or unfair is the school system of evaluating children? How well do administrators at your schools create a school environment that helps children learn? So those are a few of the questions that parents have asked. Thank you to all the parents that help us to answer those questions. We are able to retrieve that data and then take a look at, you know, what do we need to work on? What do we need to focus on? Where are we doing well? Because we also have to focus on the positive. So you'll see all those numbers there. We had a really good increase in each one of those areas compared to the district. Our result was 86%. District was 74%. For learning behaviors, this is where we noticed we had a little bit of a drop, but we're going to focus on those areas. Different questions that parents are asked: how often does your child read for fun? How often does your child struggle to get organized for school? When working on school activities at home, how easily is your child distracted? So all of those are different questions that parents are asked that have to do with learning behaviors. So that gives us a little bit of feedback on what it is that we need to, how can we help parents, maybe trainings, some tools, and we could incorporate that. Our counselor and I have been talking about that. She's here today, and we're going to focus on that and how we can incorporate them into the meetings that we already hold, our chit chat with the principal and the counselor and the parent institute. So the district average was 60% and ours was 58%. For grit, this is another area that we also need to provide a little bit of support for grit. Some of the questions that parents are asked: how often does your child stay focused on the same goal for several months at a time? When your child is working on a project, what matters a lot to him or her, and how focused can he or she stay when there are a lot of distractions? Or if your child fails to reach an important goal, how likely is it that she or he try again? So again, gives us a little bit of insight. Maybe perhaps we're also looking into how we can weave this information or skills that we can target in those tier 1 lessons that our counselors are doing throughout the day. So again, we're just using this data to make informed decisions. I'm also including here under parent involvement is the California School Parent Survey. This is included in the California Healthy Kids Survey. For that survey, only 5th grade students participate, but we also get to hear from the rest of the parents, all the parents. And so again, thank you for those parents that that completed this survey. They mostly, when we obtain the results, they mostly focus on strongly agree. They're strongly agree, and so on and so forth. But if you look at our scores, we focus here on promotion of parental involvement. We earned 43% for strongly agree. Communication with parents about school, 55%, and then parental involvement at school, 42%. These are all strongly agrees. But if you are to add our strongly agrees and our agrees, they all add up to about 80 to 90%. So we did very well in this area, and we had about 268 parents participate in that survey. So that's going to help us a little bit to continue planning and focusing on some areas, and then continue to excel in others, such as the parental involvement at school. So planned activities in this area, volunteers. We've been having a nice group of parents that I have been volunteering at our school. Workshops where our counselor, with the help of our counselor, we're providing a parent institute for our parents in the evenings. We offer different types of topics. They all revolve around mental health, family functioning, suicide prevention, and resources in the community. We're also working on recognition. We want to recognize all our parents that are involved, that support us, that come to our meetings, that are learning. So we want to highlight them, highlight their participation. And of course, communication has been one of the ones that we've been doing very well, in an area that we've been doing very well. So we want to continue to, with that momentum. And so continuing with making those announcements for parents, sponsored events at our site, academics, everything, and making sure that they're being announced through the marquee, through our Facebook, has a lot of our parents on there, and of course, Remind. Planned activities, we have quite a bit planned, and I invite you all, whenever you have a chance, stop by at Kennedy Gardens whenever we're holding some of these events. We have family picnics, we have our assemblies, which our parents are invited to every month at the end of the month. We just held our turkey trot. It was so much fun. And we're planning for our winter program as well, participation in the Christmas parade. We were just talking about ideas. It was great. Thank you. And of course, the book fairs. We have 2 book fairs. We just had one recently. We just closed up shop on that. And we have our parent institutes. We have dances for our kids. They have lots and lots of fun, and we're able to provide. They help to raise money for all the incentives and things that we're providing for our kiddos. We have astronomy night already arranged with Ms. Montaño in January. We held our fall carnival, which was very well attended. Field trips, chit-chat monthly meeting, academic competitions. We just had our students attend the STEAM Festival at ICOE, and they also attended the Cattle Call Parade. So that's what we've done recently. And so our goal to increase parent involvement by the end of the school year, increase parent involvement in our school by 20% compared to the previous year to enhance the educational experience for our students. And now we go on to climate and attendance. You'll see a lot of the events that we've held there in our pictures. Also, I want to talk a little bit about the work that we've done with PBIS. This is the second year that we're working with PBIS, but we're still working on Tier 1. So we began by recruiting. We recruited some of our staff, people at our site, and we created the PBIS leadership team, and we were able to determine the lead. So that we focused a lot on data from Synergy, discipline referrals, observations, areas of need, and we collected all that data. We analyzed whether or not we had current systems or did not. So where we had to build, right? So we created those systems. We created a behavior flow chart. We established rewards and incentives. We went back to our school expectations. And then we are in the planning stage. We planned some lessons, and we're developing training for all stakeholders. And we're doing this with the assistance of ICOE. And then, of course, we're planning on that rollout and kickoff, and the timeline is set for January of 2024. These are some of the artifacts that we've created in our PBIS team. That is the flow chart that teachers will be using when making decisions. Should we send them to the office, or is this something that's teacher managed? We have our tickets that we're going to be distributing, and we also have the lessons that our PBIS team has created, and they're also piloting, because we want to work out, what works and what doesn't, and we want to make them targeted, and we want to make them short, because we all want to be on the same page when we talk about the school expectations. And of course, attendance, right? We have a huge district initiative, so we want to be able to support that as well. So we're focusing on the conferences, both group conferences, but individual conferences. And through the individual conferences, I've been able to kind of determine what some of the issues are with some of our parents, and why it is that they're having a difficulty getting to school. So that personal one-on-one conference is will also be helping. We have our attendance groups with our counselors, and they're working with our kiddos on attendance, sending out daily reminders to parents, and of course looking at our data. activities that we have planned to support the attendance initiative. Every time my class has a perfect attendance, not only do we put a magnet on our doors, and then we have Eddie the Eagle come and visit, and they love that because, you know, Eddie will dance sometimes and put on a show for the kids, and they absolutely love it. So he comes to visit. But, of course, we're also going to be supporting with treats. And we're going to give them the option, do you guys want some treats, or do you want 5 minutes of extra recess? And you know what they're going to want to pick, right? So every time they earn 100% attendance in their class, they're going to earn a letter. They have to spell out soaring eagles in order to earn the treats or the extra 5 minutes of recess. We also have the traveling trophy. We have one for intermediate, and then we also have one for primary. And of course, they earn a pizza party for the highest attendance rate during the month, and we announce it during our monthly assemblies. And of course, we have just incentives, small little prizes. Kids love little trinkets that they can just go and pick. So we have plenty of those to, you know, be able to support our kiddos. So the goal to improve school climate is to enhance the school climate by fostering a more supportive environment, increasing the overall student, parent, and staff satisfaction rating in school climate surveys by at least 10% compared to the previous year's result. Okay, and now we are here. We are going to highlight some of our staff. I'd like to introduce to you Ms. Myrna Osuna, E-Lit teacher. Ms. Osuna embodies the essence of kindness, generosity, and thoughtfulness. As a dedicated team player, Ms. Osuna consistently goes above and beyond to ensure a positive and collaborative work environment. Her unwavering commitment to hard work is truly commendable as she tirelessly contributes to the success of our school. Not only does Ms. Osuna excel in her individual responsibilities, but she also actively engages with and supports her colleagues. Ms. Osuna is a shining example of the values we hold dear, and this recognition is well-deserved tribute to her contributions.
So at this point, thank you so much, Ms. Fuentes, and stay up there because we're going to need you to do the rest of them. But at this point, so what Ms. Osuna, Myrna Osuna received the Certificate Employee Excellence Award. And so today, Ms. Osuna is going to be presented by our School Board of Trustees a beautiful Certificate of Excellence Award. Perfect, wonderful. With the Calexico pen. And she's also going to get an autographed, signed autographed book of La Historia de Calexico, History of Calexico, signed by the author herself, Yolanda Sanchez Ogas. And I am being told that Mr. Pacheco wants to do the honors of presenting presenting this. And if we could have Ms. Osuna come up and take a picture. So now we're going to go with our Classified Employee Excellence Award, and Ms. Fuentes is going to go ahead and read out her statement here on Ms. Nora Arvizu, Special Education Instructional Aide.
We are honored to present this recognition award to Ms. Arvizu, an exemplary individual whose compassion and positive spirit has significantly impacted our school. Ms. Arvizu not only excels in her role with unparalleled commitment, but she also extends her caring nature beyond the workplace, making her an integral part of both our school and the broader community. Her involvement and contributions go far beyond what is expected, creating a ripple effect of positivity that resonates with colleagues and students.
So, congratulations to Ms. Nora Arvizu, and Mr. Pacheco is also going to do the honors. So, thank you, board and Ms. Fuentes. Now we're moving on to our student awards. And at Kennedy Gardens Elementary School, we are recognizing 2 students tonight. No, Ms. Fuentes, you're going to also read about them as well. You're not done yet. You're not done yet. You're still on the clock. You're still on the clock. But it is my honor to at least announce the students here tonight from Kennedy Gardens for the Outstanding Student Award. We have Ms. Kimberly Mojica Lazo and Mr. Abner Casales Guillen. And both students will also be receiving a signed autograph book from Historia de Calexico, and they're going to be receiving a beautiful polo shirt with their name on it, and the Kennedy Gardens Outstanding Student Award. So, Ms. Fuentes, go ahead and read their statement.
All right. So Abner Casales Guillen. Abner's academic achievements are noteworthy, but it's not only his grades. The resilience and eagerness to embrace challenges and the ability to persevere through difficulties make him stand out as a role model for our students. Abner's enthusiasm for learning is contagious and truly remarkable. The thirst for knowledge and the depth of his creativity is inspiring. His contributions during class discussions and his willingness to help his peers demonstrate not just intelligence, but also generosity of spirit. His potential is boundless, and we have no doubt that his passion for learning and exceptional character will continue to open doors for amazing opportunities.
And if you want to go ahead and go to Kimberly, and then we could bring them both up together.
Okay. Kimberly is a current sixth grader and a proud Kennedy Gardens Eagle with innumerable accomplishments. As a student with perfect attendance and good grades, not only is she an outstanding role model, she is also kind and an exemplary citizen. She is friendly and respectful to all, self-driven and responsible in everything she does. A wonderful athlete with great sportsmanship, and what is even more notable, her humility, kind heart, and beautiful smile always precede her. We are truly fortunate to have a student like Kimberly to be part of our school. She will undoubtedly be making us proud to call her a KG Eagle for many years to come.
Yes. So if we could have Abner and Kimberly come up to the front. So thank you so much, Ms. Fuentes. Thank you so much, Ms. Fuentes, for that wonderful presentation, and it's exciting to see the great work and the hard work that is taking place at Kennedy Gardens, and we know that there's a lot more to come. So we're excited to be here for that journey and see the progress that's going to happen. At this point, we also want to recognize, and my board has asked me to also recognize our parents from Kennedy Gardens who are here. So if I could have the parents, los papás de Kennedy Gardens, if you could stand up, please. No, stand up, stand up. And then also our staff members from Kennedy Garden. Any employees, staff members from Kennedy Gardens? Okay. So of the students who, for Abner and Kimberly, are your parents here, your families here? Yes, if I could have Kimberly and Abner's parents stand up. Yeah. So I think, did we cover all our Kennedy Gardens friends here tonight? Any friends or other families, teachers' kids? We see little ones here today. Miss Arvisu's husband, or yay. Former KG students.
Y como no le gusta.
Thank you so much, Kennedy Gardens. Great job tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And on that note, since we are going to be going into our regular scheduled board meeting, I take this time about 5 minutes. I don't know if there's still treats for them outside. That way they could go ahead and take that break real quick, about 5 minutes, and then that way we'll start our meeting soon after. So we'll go ahead and take a break for about 5 minutes, and then we'll come back.
We have cookies and donuts and coffee outside for our Kennedy Gardens, and please help yourself. And you're more than welcome to join us, but you don't have to stay for the rest of the board meeting.
Opposed? All right, we're gonna go ahead and continue with our meeting. 5, revised ESSER 3 plan for fiscal year 23-24 school year.
Thank you, President Alvarado. At this time, I'd like to ask Ms. Brisa Price to the podium for a presentation.
Good evening, Board, Superintendent, and members of the public. I am here today to present a revision to the ESSER 3 expenditure plan, which was originally approved back in 2021-22, and I think I've been coming on a yearly basis to update it based on our expenditures and as the plan has moved along, any changes that need to be made. This money expires in September 30th of 2024, so at the end of the academic year. And so it's time to we've looked at the entire plan, we've looked at what has been spent, what items have been accomplished, and really reallocating money so that our intent is to get all of these expenditures done by our requisition deadline of March 27th. And that way, if there are plans or changes that need to be made, then we can come back to you at that point and really revise the plan so we can spend every single cent of these monies. So just a little recap, when we developed the plan in 21-22, we had to get community input. And at that time, it was right after COVID, after we returned, there were several plans. At the time, the period is referred to as the plandemic. And so we had several plans that we had to develop at this time. And so rather than have different committees and different surveys for different purposes, we kind of got what we already had in place, consulted them, and then developed the action. So we looked at our District English Learner Advisory Council, our Migrant PAC, our District Parent Advisory Council, the LCAP Core Committee, which is comprised of parents, teachers, administrators, ACT, CSEA, and then there was also a feedback from the Board Advisory Committee on School Construction, and we took some of those that feedback and we incorporated into the plan. So these are some of the plans: the Learning Continuity and Attendance Plan, ESSER 3, the Local Control Accountability Plan, your LCAP, and then at that time we also had the Expanded Learning Opportunity Grant Plan. So it's lots of plans, and we made sure that this was an iterative process. So we had each of these plans we kind of pulled out the overarching ideas, and because we kept hearing and seeing the same feedback from the different community partners, our parents, our staff, our students, our administrators at the sites. And so we took that and we created our plan. So the money set aside in ESSER 3, it was just under $42 million. Of those $42 million, we had 20% that was the minimum that we had to spend on to address learning loss, and the rest of those funds, which is the majority of the money, could be used for strategies for to address the impacts of COVID. So as you can see, we have 3 sections. The first one, about 27 million. We had the minimum 20% at 8 million, and then the remaining funds for 6 million. So as you can see, I left the original, from the last revision, I left the amounts that we had in that plan. And so I crossed those out just so you could have a visual, and the blue is what we've allocated it for these activities. The activities really haven't changed. There are a few exceptions. The only thing that has changed has been the expenditure amount or the funds allocated for each action. When you look at this section A, strategies for continuous and safe in-person learning, this is the non-instructional part. So a lot of the activities in this section were dedicated towards construction. That A1 had to do with our health and safety supports. So we hired additional health technicians to come in and support as we return to in-person learning. And as those services were no longer needed, then those positions, or the people in those positions applied to other positions. And so then through attrition, and those services were no longer needed, the position was vacated. So those are actual funds that were expended in that part. A2, you had all of the elementary schools that received new playground structures. And then under A3, you had furniture for, I believe it's Mains and Kennedy Gardens. So that was dedicated there. We had the dual parking area that was constructed and completed last year. And then we have our biggest project in this plan, which is the CHS portable replacement, that new 2-story building that just broke ground. So we've done that. Again, for this part, most of these are completed with the exception of this last one. So we allocated the amounts to cover those expenses, and any monies left over were moved over here to A5 to cover the additional cost to that construction, because due to supply chain issues and inflation, expenses have increased, and so that project is now much more expensive. This part here is to address the impacts of learning loss. Again, the first one had to do with independent studies, and so coming back from school closures, the CDE did allow parents that were afraid to return to in-person learning, allowed them the flexibility to stay at home and enroll in independent studies. After the first year of coming back, then those provisions went away, and so that is actually what was spent that first year. And after the first year, after we returned to in-person learning, we no longer provided that service because it went back to a traditional independent studies program. The rest is, again, not a lot of changes to the actions. Just if we saw that the money wasn't spent, then we reduced it. If they were spending the money as to support the student groups, then we went ahead and we allocated additional monies. So looking at B2, we had planned to hire instructional assistants to support classroom instruction. But we had this in this plan, we had it in LCAP plan, and we couldn't fill all of the positions. So at this point in the year, the $2 million that was allocated there was just too much. And so knowing that these funds expire at the end of the school year, we really had to reduce those funds. For foster homeless and youth, again, there were some activities there that were taken over by Expanded Learning Program, our student wellness project, and so that's now part of what they do, and that those activities were taken out of this plan, therefore the funds were reduced here. Looking at English learners, we increased that allocation because, again, this is serving or providing services to our English learners, including the Elevation, Lexia English, and the Elevation that monitors our English learners and our long-term English learners. So making sure that our English learners are well supported, because they are the biggest student group and the one that struggles the most here in the district. Then looking at we are looking to support students with LGBTQ, married and parenting minors, because we did see that in our surveys from the students, this was a student group that really needed a lot of support, especially after coming back from the pandemic. And although we did allocate $50,000, the funds weren't spent. And once in speaking with Ms. Limon, then she didn't need as much, but it is for professional development materials and supplies to support the students, including case management, so working one-on-one with that group of students. Then we move on to B6, which is you'll see the next ones. It's really focusing on our student groups. So students with disabilities, B6 and B8 are migrant students. And again, making sure that as we returned, these were two of the student groups that really struggled coming back. A lot of their English learners, there was a lot of instability, socioeconomically disadvantaged, and so this is additional ways to support these two students. And in addition to B6, B8, looking at B7 to support, it's the one-on-one and small group tutoring for our students. We have funds dedicated there, and we went ahead and also covered summer school for the high school last summer, and so it increased significantly our expenses in that particular area. We actually didn't. That was the one activity that we didn't do. We actually spend most of that money providing supplemental materials, supplies, flexible seating, professional development for our SLPs, our psychologists, and our teachers as well, primarily. Then we have B9 and B10, which are really under the coordination of Ms. Matthew, our MTSS coordinator, to really look at social emotional learning and PBIS. PBIS is one of those strategies, evidence-based, to support behavior and as we return from pandemic. So the district is heavily investing in PBIS district-wide to make sure that every single school is going through, is getting trained, and then looking at their systems to ensure that we support the behavior and social emotional needs of our students, like Ms. Fuentes did mention. The other activity in this section here that we really, it's not that we're not doing it, is that the creating the attendance and engagement child welfare and attendance specialist, the process of creating a job description and going through all that, deciding is it going to be a certificate, a classified position. The process just took a little too long, so I know that is still in the process. It will not be funded with these funds, but we are going to move that action into other one-time funds that cover this, because attendance, we know, has been the area where the district has struggled the most, and we are going to be investing in that area. It's just not going to be out of these funds, but it will be supported. We're looking,
That's on your action 5?
the B11.
Yeah, action 5.
Yeah, actually, oh yeah. So we have something similar in LCAP. So if you look at, I should have mentioned before, if you look at the first column, this is plan alignment. So if it was in another plan, then it's right there, because we did align our LCAP with our ELOG and our learning continuity and attendance plan and this plan.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
I have a quick question. So we're going from 910,000 to only $750?
$50, yes. And so the reason for that, we had salaries allocated in that, but we haven't even finished creating and adopting that job description. So I think they are working on it. They've moved on it. They're about to, they'll probably bring it to you for approval, hopefully at the next meeting, keeping my fingers crossed, at the latest by January. But those funds were provided to train some of our attendance clerks at the site, at the high schools particularly. So we spent $750, but those funds were reallocated to the other activities.
On B12, you're stating that we're going to hire 2 more psychologists?
So we hired the 2 additional psychologists. So at this point, we have 1 psychologist per school site. And what happened is, after the pandemic, we had more students struggling, and as a result, more students being referred for special education, more testing, and more evaluations. So we needed.
I was going to wait to the end, but since these monies are going away, these psychologists, what's going to happen with them? Are they going on our payroll? Or?
So there are several positions in addition to psychologists that we are talking and in coordination with Ms. Ramirez. We are looking at what are the services that are in these plans, what positions are in these plans. Are there other one-time funds that we can move people into if the services are still needed? And then if they are very beneficial and actually showing that it's having or impacting student outcomes in a very positive way, then looking to fund them more permanently and maybe moving some things into the LCAP. So these particular psychologists, I think the plan is to move them into, we have another pot of one-time funds, and then at that point, when those monies expire in 2027, 28, then looking at something like LCAP.
So if I could just add a little bit to that, just to clarify, like what we're seeing up here, what we're seeing, these part of these extra funds and the adjustments that you're seeing is because these extra funds expire in September of 2024. So that's why we're making adjustments right now, so we could not leave any money on the table, and we could utilize all that money. There are other parts of extra funds that expire in 2026. So 2-3 years from now. So we're still planning and we're still coordinating our funds and some of these positions with one-time monies, but we still have time, but we do have to make adjustments along the way accordingly. But at one point, that is something that it's actually there's the whole state of California is talking about, because during COVID and as a result of that, school districts were given millions of dollars in one-time funds, which we were required to use some of those funds for staffing. It wasn't whether we wanted to or not, or we thought it was a good idea or not. It's like we were required to use it for staffing. And now we're coming to that place in the near future. We're not there yet right now, but we're coming to it in the near future where that money's going to start expiring again at the end of 23-24, and then at the end of 25-26. And so those are questions that we're going to need to start addressing in the near future.
And Mr. Jimenez, the reason I'm asking Ms. Price is because these monies are going away. Our student enrollment is declining every year. So these positions, I mean, we have to look at them because maybe we will probably have too many of them. And that's what we're going to have to eventually assess our needs and make sure that we have the appropriate staffing per school.
Right, we will definitely have to assess our needs. We definitely will have to do that. It's not going to be a choice, right? We're required
That's
to.
reality.
That's reality. It's reality. And like I said, right here today, we're not talking about losing any positions that are currently already exist right now. But we're making those modifications, those adjustments. We're planning accordingly. But yeah, within the next 2 to 3 years, these are some questions that we're going to need to start finding answers for. Yeah.
So yes, we're in the works and conversations. This other part of the addressing the impacts of lost instructional time, we're looking at enhancing our libraries, supporting our libraries. B14 is looking at curriculum alignment, guide and planning, which includes our partnership with Arenda Education, substitute coverage, materials to ensure that the teachers can implement the instructional strategies that they were taught, and making sure they have everything that they need in the classroom to support student learning, including extra planning hours and time after school. And then the only new activity to this particular plan is B15, which is to enhance classroom experiences and provide a well-rounded education. We know that attendance has been an issue, and so we're looking at ways to re-engage our students in our learning. And so we're looking at providing new experiences, looking at career exploration labs like the ones that were provided at our middle schools, looking at educational trips, so Farm Smart, Junior Achievement. If I teach English and I teach Shakespeare, possibly taking those kids over to Old Globe Theater in San Diego, because it's much different to read Shakespeare than to experience Shakespeare live. Looking at supporting group activities that promote affiliation and increase sense of belonging, such as the robotics team, MESA, the fitness and conditioning activities at the high school and at our middle schools, making sure that they have a place to go. I know those especially a lot of the boys like to go into the gym. It's part of the, bonding and caring for themselves physically. So making sure they have activities like that during school and after school, before school, so that they have those opportunities. And then maker spaces, making sure that the kids are being re-engaged with learning. And so we've added this particular activity to support all of those activities that enhance the learning experience for our students. The last part of the funds was really for any purpose to address impacts of COVID. And what we did is we had two actions here. The first one was to provide additional devices. So we did go to the one-on-one, and then those one-on-one devices had to be replaced the following year. So we used C1 to replace some of those devices for teachers and students, as well as Zoom license and things like that. And then Under this one, we also had the border link expansion, so making sure that there was an antenna at Mains, Rockwood, and Cesar Chavez Elementary to make sure that the students in the district had that internet connectivity so that they can do on the year that we were at home, that they were able to access Wi-Fi from home. So again, if you notice these two sections, these are actually the actual expenditures, and what was left over was moved back into that A5 to cover the increase to the construction of the A4 building. And so this is just the changes that we did and where we moved the money. But as you can see, that line in the middle to address lost instructional time, that didn't change because that was a requirement of the plan that at least 20% of those funds were to address that particular area. And that is it. Any questions?
Thank you for your presentation, Ms. Price. Board members, you have any questions?
No, thank you for your presentation.
Well, this is probably the time to ask about extra funds for the lightings at Kiki.
For the what?
For the lighting at Kiki, the fields. Yeah, but
Yeah, but I
Those
think we
will help
could
you.
discuss that for
Yeah.
ALCAP also as
Yeah.
well, right?
Yeah.
Because that's, I know there was extra funds for ALCAP, but thank you.
Yeah, and these funds really were just to respond, prepare, or get ready after COVID. So if we could tie it to COVID, these were the funds. If not, unfortunately, we couldn't. But thank you.
all right, thank you.
And it's gotta be spent by September 24th.
September
2024.
30th, 2024. Yes. So that is around the corner.
Thank you for the presentation. H, comments from the public. The board will take any and all comments from the public related to an item on the agenda or any other item of district business that is not on the agenda. No comments? I, consent agenda. All items appearing will be acted upon by one motion without discussion unless any item is pulled for separate consideration and action. Motion by Ms. Magallanes.
Second.
Second by Mr. Contreras. All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. 9. J, information items. 1, superintendent's report.
Thank you, President Alvarado. I'd like to start today by thanking all of our staff and our community who, our staff who planned and prepared our groundbreaking event, ribbon cutting ceremony yesterday at Calexico High School. I know we had staff over a couple months working diligently on making that event a success. Oftentimes, I get to be up at the podium, I get to be there speaking, but in reality, it was a lot of people who made that event successful. So I'd like to thank our folks like Ms. Janet Burgos, my assistant, Ms. Giovanna, the assistant to Ms. Baez, Ms. Cristina Lopez, Mr. Mike Wilcox. There's just so many people for us to thank that really were the nuts and bolts of putting that event together, and we really did it with our hearts and to try to make our community proud of their high school and proud of their schools here in Calexico. And I've got a lot of positive feedback, and I think we were able to get the job done. So I think yesterday was a mission accomplished for us as far as recognizing the new buildings and the culinary arts and the Varner gyms for our ribbon cutting ceremony, and then also for the new Measure Q and the ESSER 3 A4 building for our groundbreaking. So thank you to everyone for being there yesterday and for all the work that went into that. Tuesday. What day am I in right now? I don't know. Today, yes. I'm on Wednesday. I don't even, my days are blurring. Yesterday we had the fourth. Yesterday, right? It was yesterday. Now I'm playing. Yesterday we had our 4th annual Mental Health and Community Resource Fair. The FRC licensed clinical social workers and staff held their annual health fair yesterday, November 15th, where numerous agencies and community partners were in attendance, including San Diego State University, Imperial County Behavioral Health, Intercare, the Wellness Center, IVROP, Sure Helpline, Women Haven, ICOE, Farm Workers Institute of Education and Leadership Development, and many, many other organizations. So I want to thank all of our community partners who come out and support our schools every day. And yesterday here at the high school, probably had like 20 tents giving information and resources and doing activities with our students. Unfortunately, it did start raining there towards the afternoon. So one day it rains in the valley, right? It rained on that event, but there was still a lot of hundreds and hundreds of students that went through that event earlier before it started raining. Today, I had the incredible opportunity of attending our first ever I Applied to College event at our high school, at our high school gym over here. And I want to thank all of our staff who put that together, with Miss Gabby Williams, who's sitting here in the room with us today, Mr. Moreno, our principal at the high school, our counseling team, and everyone else who was involved. That was truly an incredible event. Our students were helped to complete and fill out their college application. And we had over 600 students out of the 696 students in our senior class participate and work on their college application today. We had members from IVROP, from IVC, from CAUSO, from the EAOP, the Early Academic Outreach Program, who were there, our counselors and our administrators, helping our students literally go into the internet, go into the website, and complete their college application. So approximately 600 kids participated, and are either a lot of them already submitted their applications, or they got the process started for submitting their applications. So this is our first time we've done that, and we're expecting a lot of great results from that. I also want to take this opportunity to thank our Spanish club at our high school. Our teachers are in a Spanish program, do a lot of really neat things for our kids, a lot of things that are culturally relevant, that celebrate our cultural richness here in Calexico. And I want to thank the Spanish club teachers for their wonderful Dia de los Muertos festivities, celebrating the beautiful Mexican cultural tradition where we remember and honor the life of our friends and families who have passed away. Our students dressed in beautiful folkloric attire, created poems, artwork, and dances. So I want to thank all of our teachers for their hard work in putting that together every year. One more thing, too, I'd be remiss if I didn't recognize today an exciting and thrilling first ever in the state of California flag football season. This is the first year in the state of California where flag football became a CIF sanctioned sport, and our Lady Bulldogs claimed the IVL championship. We will recognize our Lady Bulldogs at our December board meeting in the way that we recognize success here in Calexico, but we will be recognizing them for their hard work, their dedication, and their triumphant season. They were just one game away from bringing home the CIF championship. They fought hard. They played hard. We didn't get it this year, but nevertheless, we're very, very proud of our Lady Bulldogs, and they are the IVL champions. So you'll be seeing them in December getting their due recognition. Finally, I want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. This is an opportunity to reflect on the many blessings we have in our lives and the reasons to be grateful. May you enjoy a restful break. Thank you.
Thank you for that report, Mr. Jimenez. 2, ROP Committee.
Yes, good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us tonight. I'll be covering the month of October for IVROP. We have 2 career specialists. The names are Salshi Rodriguez and Alberto Seed. And these are the individuals that have been helping the seniors prepare for their colleges and filling out applications and resumes. Also, these 2 individuals have worked hard and have been meeting with their parents. On October 4th, the specialists presented at the College and Career Center at THSETS 150 students of the ROP services. On October 26th, the career specialist presented at the College and Career Center to 28 parents on the IVROV process or service. From October 23rd to October 26th, career specialist facilitated my next move career assessment to 606 10th graders at Calexico High. October 25th, 19 SPED students from Calexico High completed a career assessment. And their continued, their next project is with Enrique Camarena. And to date, these two specialists have met with 986 students. So that's a good turnout. So, and that's all I have.
Well, thank you, and we'll stay with you for board reports. So go ahead with the board report also as well.
Oh, board report. Hold on, I got a lot of things to hear. Well, good evening again to all of you, and thank you for joining us tonight. I'll start by, to all the veterans, happy belated Veterans Day, and thank you for your commitment and sacrifice. Kiki, thank you. I think it fell in somehow, we missed it, or we didn't miss it, it just wasn't within the board. So again, thank you for your sacrifice and your commitment. Congratulations to Kennedy Gardens for a great presentation. I think we already had all that information from last time. Ms. Alisa had given us the information, but I want to especially thank the parents that are here, actually here supporting their kids, and the teachers that have made it possible for this to happen. And most important, I think it is their test scores. They came up high. They've grown a lot, and I think it's probably the leadership and the commitment from the teachers and the staff as a whole, and that they've shown a lot of progress, and hopefully they'll continue to show that progress. And the next one is congratulate to all the fall athletes. We had, like Mr. Jimenez was saying, the girls flag football team made it to IVL, and that was a good thing for the sport. Measure Q and Measure V ceremony. And I don't know where I should start on this. I think Mr. Jimenez and staff, you set the bar with this ceremony. Everything went well. Presentation was well. Everything that was done was really done well. You're probably the talk of the town right now. So, yeah. Or the Valley, probably, because we had a lot of representation from the Valley, too. The ceremony was well planned and executed. Aside of everything, I think what made it great was to see our kids in action. ASB, the band, the law enforcement class, the cheers, the culinary, the Navy, that was priceless. To see our kids, and this is what we're here for, to see them succeed in what they want to do. I think that brought a lot to it. And a lot of citizens from Calexico, they see where their money's going. And I think that has to do a lot. And last but not least, I'm sure you're all aware that this district has a campaign for attendance. Correct, Mr. Jimenez? Yes, sir, that is correct. Yeah. So we've been busy trying to get donations from the community because we want to make it big. This December, we want to award our kids, and those that qualify, of course, because you have to earn the golden ticket to go into the raffle, prizes. So with that said, we have gone to the community. The community has embraced us. We have received a lot of money for these prizes in December, but I want to take it a step further. I'm going to donate money. I'm going to donate $100 for this cause. And I'm here, I want to challenge all of you here that are sitting here to do as well, to match me. And anybody that's out there in the community or in the audience too, they're willing to match, because we want to make this a wonderful event for our kids. So if you want to say something, Mr. Jimenez?
Well, I'm always up for a challenge, Mr.
I want you to match me or
and,
even double me. I don't know. What do you want to do?
I will match you and raise you by $50.
Okay.
So I will
well,
donate.
That buys a bike there.
I will donate $150 for this cause, and absolutely, Mr. Lorenzo. There's not very few things more important than being at school and being in school and being present. And every minute that gets lost is a minute that doesn't come back. So when our students are not at school, that's time that we're never going to be able to recover. So it's tough. It's tough nowadays. Kids, families are struggling. Kids are struggling. There's a lot going on in the world, and sometimes it's hard to go to work or go to school or whatnot. But school is a safe place. School is a good place to be at. There's a lot of good things happening at our schools. Our staff, our classified employees, our teachers, our administrators are working very hard. We are having our December attendance assemblies where we're going to be raffling off brand new footballs and basketballs and soccer balls and different board games and Connect Four and checkers and chess and a lot of different raffles for our students. But yes, definitely the grand finale right there would be 2 bikes for every school, raffles at all of our elementary schools. So I will match your 100 and raise you 50.
All right.
All right.
And you forgot to mention Aurora is also in the.
And we actually, yes, thank you for reminding me that. We also, Aurora is also in this process and in this initiative as well.
All right. So you've been served, board. So hopefully,
Thank you. Thank you. for that
hopefully you
report.
can match me. I appreciate your assistance, and you're all welcome to attend. I think it should be. You should all make it a point because when you see those faces, they're priceless when they're out there competing or trying to get the grand prize. Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you for the report, Mr. Calderon. Mr. Contreras.
So I'll match the 100, and we'll put 2 bikes. So we'll just go that route. By the time we get to you,
It's probably gonna have to be a car by that time.
Hey, in Orange County, they give a car out. Okay.
so this month I was able to attend the Veteran Services at the Calexico Cemetery. It's an event that is put by the Baja Runners, the Calexico Baja Runners. Kiki was one of the honorees. Him and his wife did the reef at the cemetery. We also had some kids from Aurora who were under the supervision of Mr. Humberto Felix. So Mr. Humbert took them in there. They did the placement of the flags. They helped out with cleaning the graves and stuff like that. Early in the morning, they start about 6 o'clock in the morning. And then we also had some Southwest cadet group that came down from El Centro to participate in that event. And that was an event that was well attended both in the morning while we were placing the flags at each one of the gravestones and in the afternoon, midday for the event of the placing of the wreath in the ceremony. And I just had the opportunity to be able to attend in there and see Mr. Alvarado there. And thank him for his service. Today, one of the things that I think every school, when they come in and do their presentations, each one of them brings something really nice. One of the most wonderful things that I saw today from them was the way that they did their biographies. It was very, very well written. So I was doing late night yesterday some letters of recommendation for some students, for their college applications and things like that. And you run out of words, and I was looking at them, and I'm going like, oh, I was looking for that. I was looking for that, right? So you start looking at those things, and I really appreciate that Kennedy Gardens took the time to do those biographies, recognize their staff and their kids, and each one of the school does it. They do something a little bit better than the other one every time that they come in and do their presentations, and that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Mr. Contreras. Mr. Pacheco.
Yeah, well, we're gonna match the money, I guess, and just keep the flow. But Kiki, by the time it gets to you, Mr. Calderon, we will match your price there, just to say that this is a group thing. Also, again, the each report is different and nice, and I think it's a challenge for everybody to come and express and show off their schools and what they're doing, and that's important for us so we can see what actually is going on at the sites. To which I'm glad to say that I'm going to start going to lunchtime. I'm going to
duel tomorrow. If anybody wants to join me and just hear anything from the staff, any concerns they have, we're there to listen. And if we can do anything for them, that's what we're here for. So I'll be doing that if anybody wants to join me. I waited for the negotiations to get signed, sealed, and delivered, so we wouldn't have any ill feelings. But I'm glad we're going to do that and also settle and confirm our contracts with ACT. So I think it's we're on our way. We're on our way. So that's all I have.
Thank you for that report, Ms. Pacheco. Ms. Magallanes?
So, I'll do the matching as well. So, Mrs. Fuentes, Kennedy Guardian parents and staff, thank you for all your presence and support during this fantastic presentation. Your engagement means a lot. I wanted to share my experience from the health fair at Warfield yesterday, where I had the opportunity to connect with students from CTE, law enforcement, and child development. They did a couple of requests. So the request from law enforcement was they wanted more mentorship from different agencies, so that would be very beneficial to them. And also child development. It was really nice talking to them and hearing how they've grown and what they learned. It was very inspiring to witness the great work teachers are doing. I also visited Mr. Fisher's auto body shop class and was truly impressed by the students' projects involving electrical cars, the dedication, the working on aspects like suspension and battery wattage. I mean, I can't even change anything, just turn on my car, right? But it was really nice to see them work on the cars. And also, I want to thank everyone that was part of the groundbreaking, behind the scenes, all the work that we're doing. It was a very, very nice event. And on a final note, I want to thank our director from food service. I've been hearing great comments about the food, and it was delicious. Thank you so much. That's all.
Thank you for that report, Ms. Magallanes. As far as myself, I just want to take this time and thank our past, our current, armed forces for Veterans Day. Because of them, the reason why we're here, we're, talking freely amongst each other because of their service, their dedication, their sacrifice. And I mean, I could go on and on. It's just something that, grows within you, and it was something that had a calling force since I could remember. It's been in my family since World War II all the way till now. We've kept on serving, and it's just something that we do with honor, and it's something that we do without, getting any accolades or nothing like that. It's just something that we go out and do. Other than that, I just want to also thank for the groundbreaking. It was awesome. It was amazing. Heard nothing but positives from our community. Just when I got there, I was just expecting something totally different from the first groundbreaking that we had compared to this one. I mean, it's night and day. Just the way everything was set up, the backdrop, how everything was set up meticulously, the machinery behind us, how it was all set up to when we even took the shovel to drop dirt. I mean, that background shot was amazing. Not only that, I mean, look at all the news that we had out there. Our students that participated, that was amazing also as well. It was just, I mean, I have no words. I want to thank everybody for that. Ms. Alonso, I think your drinks were a hit out there also as well, what you did. And our culinary school arts program, that was something that was amazing also as well. As far as for today, for, what was presented today for our school, what they showcased, I think it's something that, how everybody's been saying, it's something that's each and every month they go above and beyond. And as far as our matching, I'll go ahead and match what you said, $150. So I'm gonna go different from what they said. I'm not gonna match what Jesse said, but it's pretty close. But I'll match the 150. But let's not forget, there's also other programs that our students are doing also as well. FFA's coming up, and I've said it here year in and year out. Nobody's followed. Nobody's gone out there and donate to our kids. I think I've been one of the only board members that's gone out there and actually given extra, something to our kids, and that's something that we have to do. We're not doing it to pat ourselves in the back. And I think that's something that we're giving back for our students, and that's what we're here for. We're here for them, and we're here to make sure that they become productive citizens, and right here within our community. There's a lot of stuff going on within our community that Calexico needs a lot of help on, and that's something that I think we're going to have to discuss later on. And something that I've discussed with a couple of the board members also as well, that we need to start opening up our schools a little bit more to the community, because they don't have nowhere to play soccer, nowhere to practice for baseball. So something that we're going to have to decide, something we're going to have to come up with a plan, Elisa, for Alcap pretty soon, and discuss that, because we are going to need some lighting out there, working with IID to see if we could, work on Enrique Camarena also as well, as far as that goes. And as far as that, I did attend the Baja Runners event, and it's something they do every year. And it's something that, as long as I'm here and there's nothing else, as long as I have health in me, I'll keep on attending as far as that goes. And with that said, let's go ahead and start this meeting and go to K, substitute teacher pay rate. And that's something that I went ahead and asked for. And it's something that I want to, see how the rest of the board feels as far as that goes, because it's something that, I know that they don't get any type of, raise or anything at all, but it's something that I want to bring up to you guys, and it's something that I want to see if we could take some type of action with that today.
Wasn't there a
First
group?
thing-
Wasn't there a group meeting with Mr. Romet? Was there a group meeting with you, Mr.
Yeah, Mr. Guerrero.
Guerrero?
Well, can anyone tell us what the rates are on the surrounding
Sure.
districts?
Sure, Mr. Guerrero has that information.
All right, good evening, Board. President Alvarado, thank you for your services. Trustees and everybody here in the audience. We do have some comparisons, if I may approach the board and share with you.
So if you look at these comparisons, you'll see that we're competitive, and we're towards the upper end of the list. There's the day-to-day sub rate, and then there's the long-term sub rate, which we start at 6 days. You could see some districts, they'll start their long-term at 15 days or at 21 days. And so to get to that higher, long-term rate of pay, it's after the 21 days and in the same assignment. That's what a long-term assignment means. So someone could work the entire year but not work in a long-term assignment. So our long-term assignments start at 6. So we're waiting, willing to take a board's recommendation, or if right now, or come back with the recommendation for the December board meeting. We're at the board's direction.
Yes.
Well, I would have to think like a young, inspired teacher to be. It's $10 difference between the next city that we have here, El Centro, correct?
Yes.
El Centro, Union High, 175, and Calexico is 165. That's $10. That's a gallon, 2 gallons of gas.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be,
It's
worth
not-
it for me to go to El Centro to work those extra hours
Mhm.
over there.
That's the high school. Look
Yeah,
at
the
the
high school.
elementary. The elementary rate is.
Yes, well, that's what I'm saying. That's the closest one. That's why we're losing subs. But it's something that we can discuss.
Well,
Yes.
that's the reason why I brought it up, just for discussion, possible action, see if we could come to some type of agreement. We could also bring it back, but I was just doing the math in my head real quick. If we are going to give, our teachers the 8%,
Yeah.
I was thinking even if you do 8% on the 165, it's roughly about $13, so it comes out to about 178.
178.56.
And then it'd be another 8% for the 215, so it goes up. It's something,
Yeah.
and it shows that we are thinking about them also as well. It's not going to be a but at least it could put an extra two gallons of, you know,
Yeah.
gas or
Yeah.
an extra
It-
gallon
it's
of milk
worth-
on the table.
It's worth driving to El Centro, I mean, with $10 difference.
Yeah, we've discussed this in executive cabinet, and you know, I do want to share that in my experience, when I in the previous district I was in, we actually did a survey of what were the those things that were most important for substitute teachers. We surveyed substitute teachers, and we asked, when you go to a school district, because substitute teachers can, you know, sometimes they're hired by 3 or 4 or 5 districts, and they get to pick and choose which district they want to go to. And surprisingly to us in that survey, money wasn't the number one consideration. You know, substitute teachers talked about feeling welcomed at a school site, people saying, you know, good morning, feeling like they're part of the staff, they're part of the school, feeling that they're appreciated by the school district. And so I say that because I do want to share that in Calexico, we're not struggling with hiring substitute teachers. We just had an onboarding of over 40, I believe it was,
Yeah,
Roman?
43 substitute teachers we onboarded and brought on board. So yeah, we don't have a shortage of substitute teachers.
Now, having said that, though, in our discussions, we also do want to recognize that, you know, just the cost of living is more expensive for everybody. As the board is mentioning, that a gallon of gas is more expensive, a gallon of milk is more expensive, a carton of eggs is more expensive. And so our substitute teachers do play a critical role in our school district. Without them, it would make our lives, you know, more difficult. Definitely, we recognize that. So we are giving that 8.22% today for our regular teachers. That if the board wishes to do the same for our substitute teachers, that would put our new rate of pay at 178.56 for the day-to-day sub, and 232.67 for the long-term sub.
I'll go ahead and with that said, I'll second. So there's a motion by Mr. Calderon, a second by myself. If there's no further discussion, there is a motion on the table.
Hebrews got us by $2.
I would amend it to make it to 180, just
180.
so that it's even,
I-
and then remain the 215 on the.
Well, of course, we'll take the board's direction. I think the 8.22 is aligned to what we did with CACA and their total compensation. They split it up a little bit different between salary schedule and benefits. ACT took the 8.22 all in salary. I would just say to align them with, and today we're proposing the same exact thing for our management, so I think the 8.22 would match.
Mr. Jimenez, sorry to interrupt, but why don't I do this? I'll withdraw my to approve, and why don't we go back, you study, and then we bring it back in the next board
Why don't we
meeting.
do this? Let's go ahead. We're gonna have to go into closed session right now again. We'll just
Continue.
continue motion. Table it till we
Table,
come back.
yeah.
Once we come back,
Well, I
that way
mean,
we can
yeah,
go
so
ahead.
we can get a better
Yeah.
idea. Not that what you're bringing up, so it makes sense.
And then that way we
Yeah.
can go ahead and just table it, and we'll bring it back.
Yes.
Thank you.
But the direction was to gather information, correct?
Yes.
All right, okay.
Yes.
All right.
So, Kiki, you have to withdraw your motion.
Yeah, withdraw the motion, and we're gonna table it and bring it back. L, action items, approval of revised ESER 3 expenditure plan for the 23-24 school year. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Second by Ms. Magallanes. All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 5-0. 2, ratification of ACT tentative agreement, salary schedule, and AB 1200, disclosure of proposed collective bargaining agreement with Associated Calexico Teacher ACT for fiscal years 23-24 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Calderon, second by Mr. Contreras. All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 5-0. And number 3, approval of salary schedule increase for classified and certificated management employees for school years 23-24 and approve health benefit structure as provided to benefited, classified, and certificated employees.
So moved.
Second. I'll make a motion by Mr. Calderon, second by Ms. Magallanes. All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Once again, congratulations on that.
Congratulations.
Number 4, approval of salary schedule increase for Assistant Superintendent of Business Services, Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources and Risk Management, and Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services for school year 23-24, and approve the health benefit structure as provided to benefited, classified, and certificated employees.
So moved.
Second. Motion by Mr. Calderon, seconded by myself. All those in favor, please state aye. Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Once again, congratulations.
The speaker is really working, man.
5, agreement between Calexico Unified School District and the California College Guidance Initiative, CCGI, for data sharing and college and career resources.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Magallanes, seconded by Mr. Pacheco. All those in favor, please state aye.